What's up, guys? We're back. Too Troubled, new spot, same podcast as always. I'm your host, Travis Chadwick, and I'm here with
Tucker Grace.
And we're back. The Too Troubled show is back on the road in a new state, and we're moving.
Yeah, no, it feels weird, but I mean, we got these sexy new mics and our own headphones now. It feels like we're the real deal. It feels good.
100%. 100%.
But, we just got done watching the NBA draft, and I think, all things considered, it went pretty according to, I feel like, how everyone thought at least the first couple picks was going to go. Kind of toss up after that. So we're going to cover a little bit of the NBA draft. We got a couple sleeper picks, and then we got some big news that happened. A lot of trades in the past week in the NBA coming at you with hot takes, and then we got a little mock trial, and we'll wrap it up with, as always, our schedule analysis where we pick what teams we think we're going to win.
100%.
Talk to me. I mean, your team actually had a pick inside the top 5. How do you feel about your guys' pick, the Pistons?
I feel all right about it. I mean, really, if you don't get one of the top 3 guys, I feel like in any year it's kind of just an L.
Yeah,
like you're just swinging at the fence and you hope you hit. Most of the time you miss. But Sir Thompson going to the Detroit Pistons. I don't know how good of a player. I know he struggles shooting the ball a little bit, but he's athletic and he's lengthy, so I think that he definitely has the ability to be good. But he's definitely going to need to develop a shot. So we'll see how he plays.
Yeah, and I thought it was very interesting because his twin brother got drafted right before him.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. I haven't fact checked myself, but I would assume that is the only time in NBA history that 2 top 5 picks are not only brothers but twins.
Yeah,
that's wild to me.
I don't see that happening
ever.
Really, ever.
Right? No, it's wild. It's wild.
Both blessed. Amen is way better than Asur. He just is developed and more of a versatile and looks like more veteran. His game is more polished a little bit, but Asur is athletic and he has the capability to be great. So we'll see what happens. We'll see which one of the twins ends up being better.
Yeah, I mean, at that first pick, kind of backtracking a little bit. The first pick, I don't know who this Victor Wembanyama kid is. Yeah. Never really heard of the kid. Yeah. We don't really need to talk about him that much. I mean,
no, he's only been pushed on like every social media site the NBA has.
But yeah, the Spurs obviously get a generational talent in Victor Wembanyama. So hopefully that works out. I'm going to touch on him a little bit later in the podcast, actually. Mm-hmm. And I think this one was also pretty expected, but I really like where the Hornets went with their number 2 pick. And they didn't go in the direction that we went in our 2K build. If you haven't seen the video yet, go check it out. We rebuilt the Hornets, and unfortunately, that's not what happened. We had the Hornets taking Scoot in that rebuild, but in real life, the Hornets take Brandon Miller, which I think is going to be a huge guy for them. And I think it's a really good fit. If they took Scoot, they already have guards. They already have LaMelo. Why do they need another guard?
100%.
They went ahead and got a forward in Brandon Miller. I love it. But at 3, also a team that doesn't really need a guard. The Trailblazers take Scoot. And I think Scoot's a good player, but what does that say about the Trailblazers and how they feel about what guards they have right now? Kind of interesting.
I want to circle back to the Brandon Miller pick a little bit. I think that I was surprised that they took him at 2, especially with his allegations that he had late in the offseason. He helping the guy get a gun who ended up murdering somebody.
Right.
So I was a little interested that they went and swung on him, but he could shoot. He's a 6'9" forward. You don't really see guys come in with that type of shot, that type of ball skills, and been able to shoot like that. So I think that's huge. But going back on Scoot, as a guard, I feel like, they were saying it a lot, especially Stephen A. Smith during the draft. He basically was like, "What does this say for Damian Lillard?" And he's definitely getting on the older side. And they've drafted 3 guards basically in 4 years, and Anthony Simons, Shaedon Sharpe, and Scoot Henderson. So I really think that's just showing that, hey, Dame may have a year left, but he's definitely on the way out, and they're looking to get rid of him and start a new future with some of the younger guys that they got.
Yeah, it's sad to see. I have a soft spot in my heart for Dame and the Trailblazers. It's always nice to see Dame hit a 3 and tap the wrist. You know what time it is. But yeah, they haven't really been able to accomplish too much. So I understand the Trailblazers' thought
Mm-hmm.
process if they're thinking about, how can we set us up for the best
Yeah.
future, So maybe they move on from Dame in the next year or two. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, hopefully Scoot Henderson is a good replacement. Maybe we got to do a Scoot Henderson Trailblazers rebuild now.
Maybe we do. Maybe we do. I don't know how confident I am in Scoot Henderson though, just because he can't really shoot the ball. He's a good playmaker, but when you go to Portland and you got players who can shoot like Damian Lillard can, and that's the guy who you're going to try and replace, like I don't know how much I trust him to go get a bucket. Like Scoot Henderson, I don't know if he is that guy. I think he could definitely be a good point guard, but he's not a guy I feel like that's going to give you a bucket. Maybe he proves me wrong. Maybe he develops a shot and develops a little one-on-one action late in his career, but who knows? I'm not a big fan. I think definitely Brandon Miller was better, which is why I think he went to, and Charlotte saw the same thing I did.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. If I was the Hornets, I definitely would have been taking Brandon Miller at 2. But yeah, we kind of touched on a little bit everyone in the top 5 there. Kind of interesting. Only one player who attended a college for 1 year, and that was Brandon Miller. Every other every other player was either overseas or in some
type of league. Yeah.
Not college is basically what I'm trying to get at, which is interesting. I mean, you're seeing the shift happen.
Yeah, I definitely think that the shift happened for a little bit. You saw overtime elite and players go in different directions. Jalen Green was another guy from last year that didn't go to college. But I think you're going to see it start to shift back a little bit, especially with NIL deals becoming a thing, and obviously college and that whole style of the game there generates more money than any type of overtime league or G League team that you can be on. So I think you see guys like Bronny, you see guys like Isaiah Collier, who was the number 1 high school recruit in this class, start to take their talents to college just because they can begin to make money again. As you see, like Bronny's the number 1 player.
Oh yeah,
NIL wise.
And it was by double. Whoever I think it was Livy Dunn was the next person, but double. So,
so I definitely think you're going to see a little bit of the pick, but the college was a little bit behind with players going and taking their amateur status and being able to make money. So some of the players have done that in the last 5-6 years, but I definitely think that that's kind of going to start to be cut off just because, you can make money in college now.
Right. No, I get that completely.
No,
I get that.
But oh my God, it was just wild to see all these guys who you didn't go to college, and that's what I think is going to be a big test. Is now you're going to go and you're playing way different guys in the NBA, and maybe Victor Wembanyama overseas, it's a completely different animal. I think definitely NCAA is the second best league over the G League, over the overtime elite league, over overseas. So a lot of these guys I feel like are going to get a big shock about when they join the league and see what happens, because it's a complete and utter talent shift.
Yeah, no, I mean, you could say that for any sport, but yeah, completely agree. I mean, it's interesting. Do you think that brings up an interesting question. Do you think that the players who play overseas are more prepared because they've already been playing professional ball, even though it's in a different country, to come over to the U.S., versus if you're going to the college level, playing a year in the college level, and then coming over to the NBA?
I don't know 100% which is better. I think it's definitely between the NCAA and overseas.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the overseas has the talent that some of these college teams have. Like whatever Metropolitan 92 or whatever team that Victor Wembanyama and Bilal, who was a second pick or seventh pick. They were on. They had 2 draft picks overseas, but I mean, you got like teams like Arkansas who was an 8th seed in the tournament, and they had 3 draft picks. They had Nick Smith Jr., they had Anthony Black, and not just but dudes who went in the top 20. So guys like Alabama, another team that had 2 draft picks in the top 20. So I don't know if they have the talent that they do, but yes, when you're playing random colleges, obviously overseas players are better, but when you get to the tournament and you get to play peak talent, I don't know. I think NCAA is better when you get to those type of teams than
I can
overseas.
see that. I could see that. I think the tournament, the NCAA tournament, is very, very exciting, but it's different. The NBA has best of 7 series in the playoffs, and in college, if you lose, you're done.
Yeah, you got to play your best ball.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. It's a who could really weigh the options and see which, whether you play overseas, does that prepare you better for the NBA, or going to college, does that prepare you?
No, exactly.
So I guess we'll see. We'll see how some of these draft picks pan out.
No, now I got a couple of sleeper picks here.
Oh, yeah?
Like picks that I think, they were drafted a little bit late, guys that you should not sleep on, that I think that could be really good here in the future. I know you got a little underrated guy that you want to touch on as well. But first I'm going to go the 14th pick, Jordan Hawkins. I personally think that he is a beast. I mean, you saw him. He won his team a national championship with UConn. I know they had a bunch of guys, Sonogo and a bunch of guys on that team. But the guy who would go there and score buckets, long-range buckets when they needed to, was Jordan Hawkins. The guy who they go when they needed a one-on-one point was Jordan Hawkins. So this guy I feel like is really good. His cousin won the women's NCAA championship. So I think it just runs in his family, just a bunch of championship pedigree. But he's 6'3", he's a big build. He's going to be a shooting guard in the league, and he can catch and shoot. We've seen that, but he also can take a dribble. I could see him being a guy like a Klay Thompson later in the 14th round, 14th pick, which I think Klay was around that 14th or 11th overall pick. So I could see him being like a Klay Thompson, a guy who can handle the ball a little bit, but mostly he's going to be a catch and shoot guy and a guy that could win one-on-one.
Yeah, I agree. I like that dude a lot. I mean, he like you had mentioned, you're a big UConn supporter in this past NCAA tournament.
Go Huskies, baby.
So it might be a little biased, but he's actually, I remember watching this dude, and he was cold. Jordan Hawkins is cold as fuck. It's kind of funny that you would mention him, because my sleeper pick is the person who was drafted right before him, which would arguably be the greatest name in the whole NBA draft this year. Grady Dick. Grady motherfucking Dick right here.
Is this just based off of his name?
I might be a little biased because of his name. I won't lie, but I will say this man can shoot the lights out of the basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 6'7", he's 200 pounds, and he plays a shooting guard. I mean, he's fucking huge. Not only that, but I remember hearing during the draft that he had a 40-inch plus vertical. So he's an athletic white boy that can shoot the rock. He's big, so he could take you down to the paint. He can do it all. And I mean, he led his Kansas team. I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, they made it to the Final Four. I think they lost. When did they lose then?
They lost to Arkansas in the round of 32.
Kansas did?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they made it further than that. But either way, he led his team to the round of 32. But yeah, this kid can shoot the ball. I mean, it's really about the last name. I mean, come on.
Grady Dick.
It's Grady Dick. But for real, he does kind of remind me, watching him play in college, he does kind of remind me of like a Tyler Hero type guy. I know Tyler's a little bit shorter, but just the way he was helping his team, shoot
That's
a spot
exactly
shooter.
who I would compare him to.
Yeah, no, I think it's a very fair comparison. I mean, they also both have fucking amazing last names.
No.
So
Dick over Hera.
All right, well, we can leave the Grady Dick talk aside, and let's move on to a little bit of some news that has come out. I mean, there's big news.
Big news. Massive trades. Touching on the first one, Chris Paul, Bradley Beal. Chris Paul getting dealt twice, but let's touch on the first time he got traded. Bradley Beal to the Suns. That's an interesting thing there. I think, especially when Chris Paul was healthy before that Nuggets series, they were winning games. They were 7-0 in the regular season with Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, and D-Book were all healthy. So I think a move from Chris Paul is definitely going to be interesting with Bradley Beal, but I think Bradley Beal's a better player. So we'll have to see how that pans out.
Yeah, no, I'm on a similar wavelength with you. I think it's kind of hard to debate whether or not who won this trade. I think Chris Paul systematically fit the Suns better. I think Chris Paul can, from rumors and from what I've heard and seen over the years, I mean, Chris Paul's never won a chip. I think he's a little bit of a cancer in the locker room, not the best player to have in your locker room. But I don't know. I don't know how Bradley Beal's going to fit into this team that already has a lot of guys who need the rock in their hands.
Exactly.
I mean, KD and D-Book, it's tough. Like, I feel like you're just gaining another guy at a position you don't need. But hey, the Suns, they're mixing it up a little bit. I heard
agree.
that they're also they also have Ayton on the trading block.
On the trade block here.
So we'll see what happens with Ayton. Maybe they can sort of build around this new foundation that they've created. Honestly, we'll see what the Suns are doing.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought Chris Paul was a perfect player for them, a big guy who leads his team in assists and is honestly top 10 in assists of all time. So he's a guy that can, benefit your team not needing the ball in his hands. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was interesting when you add a guy like Bradley Beal, who's been in Washington by himself his whole career, who's had the ball in his hands the whole career, now has to share it with two different guys. So we'll see what that happens.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Moving on to we'll just go right into the Chris Paul trade again.
Yeah, why not?
Trade for Jordan Poole.
Yeah, he wasn't even on his team for a week.
No, he was not even on his team for a day. Really. He was traded for Jordan Poole. The Warriors making moves here. Another interesting thing. Yeah. I don't know if Chris Paul can fit into this Warriors system here. I think like Bradley Beal is a better fit than the Warriors than he is for the Wizards here.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a very it's interesting. It seems like there's a lot of teams that just have too many guards.
Yep.
And they're kind of like playing with this idea of like, all right, we're going to play small ball and just shoot the fuck out of the ball. We're going to shoot threes. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I think Chris Paul could maybe fit into this Warrior system. And then what? You make Clay play the three?
Yeah. Kind
of interesting. And then what? You pick and choose who you want taking the ball up the court. Like, that's kind of weird to me to have Steph Curry playing the two.
No, yeah. I assume that they would have Steph playing the one. It's his team at the end of the day.
Yeah. But Paul's playing the... Yeah, it's just...
I just don't understand that you would trade a guard for another guard, but you're trading your 24-year-old young guard for a 38-year-old old guard that is arguably worse than Jordan Poole.
Right.
So that was just interesting to me. I think that just shows how big of issues that Jordan Poole and all that team had in the locker room. Because, you watch him on the sideline and his face, and he was always sour. Him and Draymond never got along.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they're definitely trying to bring Draymond back. I know he just declined his player option, but I think Draymond's trying to, get a longer deal, which is why he declined his player option. Getting a little bit, maybe less money per year, but trying to get more years, because he knows he's probably not going to be at the top of his game for who knows how long.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I wonder now, maybe because Jordan Poole has been traded, I wonder, does that incentivize Draymond to come back to the Warriors?
I think it definitely does.
I think so. But interesting. I don't know. I mean, you brought up the whole thing about Draymond declining his player option, and I've been seeing some rumors, and I'm pretty sure LeBron and Draymond there have been spending some time together. So who knows? Maybe La GM is back in action this offseason trying to get some former championship players on the Lakers alongside him.
Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna fix the Lakers. Honestly, I don't think so. Why? What's the point of adding Draymond just for him to yell at some more players? Like, he can't score the basketball. He's completely out of his prime defensively. He's really not that guy, just maybe a leadership presence. But moving a whole new team and just giving him that leadership role, I feel like is just not going to happen,
Yeah.
Especially with LeBron there. Like, if he's on the Warriors, he's already in that leadership role. It's been his team for who knows how long. Everyone knows that he's the guy there.
Yeah.
But you move to a different team, and you got to meet all new players and all new relationships. Like, who knows how that's going to happen? And I just don't think Draymond will be successful really anywhere outside of Golden State.
Yeah, I actually agree with that take. But just I'm so confused on what Golden State has planned here. So confused with this whole trade they got going on. Very interesting. But one other big trade that has happened in the past, actually this one just happened, I think today. Marcus Smart is out of Boston. And he is getting replaced with Porzingis. Porzingis.
Yeah. Interesting thing here, they had a trade for Porzingis and then it fell out and they're like, shit. Whatever. We'll figure out a new player to send for Porzingis. Seems like they really wanted Porzingis.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess they have... I don't really know. Maybe they really liked how Derek White played in the playoffs. So maybe they're like, you know what? That could be our guy.
Yeah.
They have Malcolm Brogdon. Then you got Jaylen Brown. So maybe you go Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis, or Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford. Like, it's not a bad roster. I just think, like, you just have another stretch big. Like, what would is that your replacement for who knows? Like, I don't really know. And I think Marcus Smart was low key the heartbeat of that team. So that's going to be interesting on how they're going to go forward chemistry wise.
Yeah, talk about the heartbeat of the team. I mean, he's a great point guard, first of all, but not only that, he's one of the best defenders in the league. I mean, he's a former defensive player.
As a guard.
Yeah, as a guard, not to mention, right? So I feel like you're giving up a lot just to have a stretch 4 or stretch 5, whatever they have Porzingis play.
Yeah.
Is that really worth it? And do the Celtics really get that much better? I mean, they were just in the Eastern Conference Championship. They went to a Game 7, so they were not that far off of a finals appearance. I know that whole, they were down 3-0 to the Heat, and like that was a whole thing, but just interesting. Like, what, you're really mixing up the team like that after a playoff push like you just had. It's an interesting decision by them.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I really have no clue what the Celtics have planned, but I'm assuming that they're probably not done making moves.
Yeah, right. That's what you would have to assume, I guess. So. Interesting. And then my personal favorite NBA news of the week.
Oh, no.
I don't know if I hope you guys have been seeing this pop up on your feeds, because I've been seeing this all over my Instagram, TikTok, everything. I've been seeing it. But Zion Williamson has been in a little bit of a controversy. So to my knowledge, Zion is engaged, and I'm pretty sure he just announced that he was pregnant with his fiance. And a porn star by the name of Mariah Mills has taken to Twitter and is putting Zion on blast, claiming that she has sex tapes of theirs on her phone and telling the NBA to punish Zion. She even tweeted at the Pelicans to release Zion. So just really curious here. Is this a publicity stunt? Is this real? I don't know. But if it is, where are the sex tapes at? Because we need those leaked.
I am not commenting on this. I am not.
Why not? You're not going to help your co-host on this topic?
Well, I was gonna help you, and then you took it a completely different route about wanting sex tapes leaked, and that's
that part was a joke.
That's when I'm like, all right, I am getting out of this segment as fast as I can.
Yeah, but just interesting. I don't know what is going on with this whole thing. I don't think Zion has. I doubt Zion has responded. He hopefully doesn't respond.
Doesn't look like he cares, or the Pelicans care, because he's still on the roster.
Yeah, no, so. I guess. Just interesting. A little controversy surrounding Zion. We'll see how this one pans out.
Yeah. Well, let's get out of here.
We just as quickly as we got into it, we can get out of it.
Right into hot takes. I'll start us off. I think Damian Lillard gets traded before the start of next season. I do. They drafted Scoot Henderson. They have so many guards on their roster. I think Shaedon Sharpe is going to be a star in this league. He can shoot the ball. He can create his own shot. Was the number 1 high school recruit coming out of his class. And he has one of the best verticals, I think, in the entire league. Like, that man can jump out of the gym, so he can jump out of the gym and shoot. That seems like a star to me. I don't know what he can't do, but he just needs to develop a little bit. But I think this is the end of Damian Lillard in Portland, which is sad because Portland loves their Damian Lillard.
Yeah, no, seriously. He has been the heart and soul of that team for some years now. But yeah, just I don't know. I think it's a good take. Mm-hmm. I think it's definitely a possibility. I think that it might be a stretch that Dame is off the Blazers before this next NBA season starts. I think maybe he's there for at least one more year, and then maybe they transition away from him after.
Maybe.
I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, I guess if you're the Blazers, you just drafted a guard at a very high position. So maybe you get rid of Dame, let these young guys get comfortable, tank one more year, and hopefully draft highly one more time, and then try to have a playoff shot. I mean, I guess I could see that working for the Blazers. Is that kind of where your head's at with that?
Yeah, well, my head was like, when I first thought of this hot take, I was watching the draft, and I'm like, you have the number 3 overall pick. Scoot is there, but if you really wanted to commit all into Dame, you'd trade that pick for some veterans. Bradley Beal was on the market. Kristaps Porzingis was on the market. I guarantee you, 38-year-old Chris Paul's worth more than the number 3 overall pick? I personally don't think so, Yeah. So if you really wanted to buy into Dame, I know they've had center issues. They really... they need kind of a center there. I don't think Vucevic is doing it for them. Mm-hmm. So you go get Kristaps Porzingis. You need another scorer. You want another CJ McCollum for. You can get Bradley Beal. He could play the 3. Shaden Sharp coming off the bench. Simon's playing the 2. Like, it just showed me that they're not bought into Damian Lillard. They had the pieces to go out and get a veteran like Bradley Beal, but they just chose not to. So that's when I'm like, all right, they're committing to their young players, which means Damian Lillard is on his way out.
It's very interesting. Very interesting. But I'll take over here for a second.
Okay.
I got a hot take of my own this week. This one could be taken interestingly by the fans here, but personally, I think that Victor Wembanyama, the number 1 overall pick, the demigod, the top prospect since LeBron James, will be good, but he will not be nearly as good as everyone puts him out to be. And the one thing that scares me about him, I know he's athletic. I know he can shoot the ball. I know he can just stand there and dunk the ball, not even jumping up. But that man needs to put on some weight.
Yeah.
He is skinny.
100%.
And I don't think that it's impossible because you saw the transformation with Giannis Antetokounmpo. You know, he came into the league super skinny, and I don't know what the Milwaukee Bucks have been feeding him, but they've been feeding him right because that man got big overnight, it felt like. Got big quick. So hopefully the Spurs can do the same with Victor Wembanyama, but I just don't see him being as dominant at the 5 spot against your centers who are maybe not as tall as Victor, but obviously I think your Joel Embiid's, your Nikola Jokic's are just going to absolutely body Victor just because of the weight difference down there.
Yeah.
And if you're getting boxed out and you have 20, 30, 40 pounds on a guy, there's not really much you can do. I don't care if you're 4 inches, 5 inches taller. There's not much you can do if you're just getting bullied down there. So that's why I think Victor won't be as good as everyone thinks he will be.
I mean, he's nothing like we've ever seen, so we have really no clue how he's going to pan out, but defensively, he might struggle early in his career, but I mean, you cannot look past his offensive ability, how fast he is, how no center in the league can dribble the ball like he can. No center in the league has as quick of a first step as he has. So I think that offensively it's going to work. Defensively, it's going to be rough for him. Obviously, he's going to have to guard Embiid, Jokic, maybe the Spurs, maybe they play him at the 4 just to help him out when they have to go play those bigger teams.
Yeah.
And when they don't, they play him at the 5. But I think it's going to be really interesting. I think he's a once in a generational player. Just the way he can shoot the ball at that size. I don't think we're ever really going to see that again. So I would assume by that logic it's going to pan out. But we truly never know. We never know.
Yeah, no, that is fair. That is fair. I'm not going to take away from the insane attributes that Victor has because they're right there in front of me. Right there, 100%. I can see them. So I know that, but I don't know. Like, part of me feels like your Scoot Hendersons or your Brandon Millers could go ahead and steal the MVP or the rookie of the year for the NBA.
I mean, we saw that with another hype prospect in Zion Williamson, and he kind of had injury concerns, as I think Wembanyama is going to have, just because he's so tall and skinny. Yeah. And Ja Morant went and stole the MVP, but that leads me right into a great segue for my next hot take. Is just because you got Wembanyama doesn't mean you're good. So I still think the Spurs are going to finish as a bottom 5 team in the league. Like, obviously, Wembanyama may early in his career be a defensive liability. Yes, he can block shots at that size, but when it gets down to it, Nikola Jokic in the paint and guys like that, it's going to be tough to stop those guys. And I think every really guy has trouble with it, so maybe it's not that much of an issue.
Yeah.
But they don't have anybody else. What you got, Jeremy Shoshan, like, really that's kind of it. Keldon Johnson's kind of still there, but I don't think the Spurs are that good. Like, yes, you got Wembanyama, but it still takes time to groom. This is not like a guy like LeBron. I feel like Wembanyama might be a better prospect, but LeBron's a guy that you can kind of just throw in there. He can dribble the ball up the court, where Wembanyama, I don't know if he's really dribbling the ball in the court. He can have the ball in his hands. So, yes, LeBron's going to make more of an immediate impact than Wembanyama is.
Yeah, I honestly, if you didn't say those names that you had just said, I wouldn't have been able to name any players on the Spurs outside of Victor Wembanyama. So I think that kind of proves it in its own. I think that, although Victor is a huge prospect coming out of France, But there's still a difference in my head between LeBron James and Victor. I think you were kind of touching on it a little bit. But I think LeBron James is the type of player that you can put him on a roster like the Spurs are right now and play in place of Victor. And no matter who you have around LeBron, he can go out and go get you 30 a game, 35 a game, and just absolutely put a team on his back. We shall see if Victor can do that, because we don't really know. But just off of the way he plays, it doesn't seem like he's the type of guy who's just gonna, all right, I got the ball in my hand, I'm gonna put my head down and I'm gonna go win this game for my team.
Exactly. I think he's definitely a guy that is gonna get a little highlights, and obviously the league's gonna cover him very, very, very heavily in his first season. But who knows? Who knows? Like that size, that guy, we really don't know what you're getting out of it. But I don't see them getting a 10, 15, 20 win improvement. So I really think that he's not going to be that crazy of a guy that's going to, come in like LeBron and give you 40 extra wins. So
Gotcha. Well, I got one more hot take to round off our hot takes for the day. This one's interesting. I think that the Memphis Grizzlies will miss the playoffs next year. And obviously Ja is going to be suspended for the first 25 games in the season. So that's definitely going to hurt them. We don't know what's going on with the whole what's his name? Dillon Brooks situation. Obviously he still is currently a member of the Memphis Grizzlies.
I think they released him.
They did release him officially.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they don't have him anymore. I don't know what they're going to do, really. I don't know what they're going to do. It almost feels like to me that the Grizzlies are going to have to just restart and build around. I mean, I think you keep Ja just because of the raw talent he is and how highly you picked him, right? You can't just get rid of that.
You can't just get rid of that
draft
guy.
capital. So I think they got to start logically building around Ja and maybe get him some better role models in that locker room, honestly, because it seems like Ja could use some of those. And I don't know, just get a veteran presence in that locker room, I think would do the Grizzlies a lot.
100%. And then he's missing 25 games.
Yeah.
So not even on top of, then after you start getting on a roll 25 games into the season, you're going to have to throw him in there and get the chemistry going, fit Ja into that scheme. So I definitely think that they could lose a couple of games, a decent amount of games. You're losing Dillon Brooks, who, yes, he had a little bit of issues in the playoffs, but he was a key guy for your team. He did have 25 minutes a night. So it's not like you're losing just a role player off the bench.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. I mean, obviously Jaren Jackson Jr. is the decoy. Steven Adams will be back from injury, so they'll have some of those guys, but their key piece in John Morant won't be there for half the season.
Yeah. No. So that's my take. The Memphis Grizzlies, they're not fucking making the playoffs next year.
Yeah, I agree.
But let's switch complete gears here. I want to talk about some NFL.
Let's get right into it.
I think
baby.
finally, we got past the draft. I think now marks the territory where we finally get to take over our favorite sport, and that could be the front runner for the podcast for the next few weeks. So, as you've been seeing in the last few episodes of the podcast, I'm going to be asking Siri to pick a random number. I've got the NFL power rankings right here in front of me. Whatever number Siri tells me, we are going to go through that team's whole schedule and pick their wins and losses.
Let's do it. I'm excited. The start of football season, at least on this podcast, starts now.
Yep.
So
let's see. Pick a number between 1 and 32.
Come on, Siri. Don't do us dirty.
It's 27.
27.
Ooh,
so
I think we did 26, so we're good.
I think we should be okay here. Let's go look. Clearly not going to be one of the best teams in the league, but let's go see who 27 is. Oh, Trav's going to love this one. The Chicago Bears are the team we are going to be doing first today. Well, you hate them, so let's just give them a lot of losses because I don't think they're going to be very good either.
I don't think that they're going to be great. And let me tackle week 1. Oh, love to see this. Green Bay at Chicago.
Give me the fucking Bears. No, I'm just joking.
No. I'm taking the Packers here.
I'll take the Packers with you here.
Justin Fields may be a good guy. I don't think he's a great quarterback. That's still up to be determined. But realistically, they don't have anybody. They're rolling with the same roster that got them the number 1 pick last year. They didn't even get to pick inside the top 5 because they traded out and didn't even. So the draft capital accumulated from those draft picks really doesn't kick until this next offseason.
Yeah.
So they really didn't improve that much. So
yeah, I mean, you could argue they did add DJ Moore with the trade.
They lost David Montgomery. So whatever you take, you got to take a step back. You know, it's always like 2 steps forward and then a step back for the Bears. Yes, they have a good young core. Maybe they're good 3-4 years down the line. But Green Bay, I get Jordan Love's first game. Like, whoa, we have no clue what's going to happen there. But you can't debate some of the guys that Green Bay still has on that team.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to argue that. I'm still okay giving it to Green Bay there.
And as fortunate as it is for week 2, I think this is where they pick up their first win.
Yeah, I mean, Tampa Bay. They're not going to be beating many teams this year, I don't think.
No.
So we don't need to talk about it too much. We can give it to the Bears, and they're getting smoked week 3, unfortunately.
Yeah, Kansas City, I feel like you don't even need to touch on that. I think they'll probably win by 25. Kansas City will.
I think that would be a pretty fair line to set the game at.
Yeah, I wonder what Vegas is thinking here. And I think they lose again in week 4 against Denver. So. I honestly see the Bears with bottom 3 record in the league. They didn't change anything. So what do you expect to change? What? Justin Fields takes another step, so give it to Denver.
Although I won't lie here in week 5, I'm not opposed to giving the Bears a win over the Commanders.
I'm going to have to go to the Commanders here. I just think their defense with Chase Young and Jonathan Allen and that D-line can prevent the one thing that Justin Fields is good at, and that's running the ball. So I think the Commanders' defense is set up perfectly to be able to stop what Justin Fields is best at, and now he's going to have to throw the ball. And let alone the Commanders still have good corners, you know. So they just drafted a corner. I think it was Devontae Banks out of Maryland. Yeah. So I think that don't quote me on that, but I think they did get a guy. So I think I'm going to go Washington there, and it may be biased because I do hate the freaking Bears.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was looking down at this roster here, and if we're not going to let them beat the Commanders, I think they might only win 2 games by your opinion here.
Yeah, well, I think they'll definitely sneak in. I mean, we always say that there's always 1 or 2 games that you never like. You got to give it just because, you know, you never know what's going to happen. Football, it doesn't ever go as scripted, so. Or does it? Roger Goodell might have something to say about that.
Who knows?
But I'll let you handle this on week 6 because I just don't even want to touch these 2 teams.
Yeah, no, we got two of Travis's favorite teams battling it out here. The Vikings versus the Bears. I think this is a pretty obvious choice. I'm going to go ahead and give it to the Vikings here. Don't really need to say too much.
Agreed.
I think the Bears are going to definitely be bottom 5 team. So, and I don't think that's where the Vikings are going to be.
Yeah.
Week 7, I'll let you take it back over, though.
I'm going to go the Raiders. Jimmy Garoppolo, a guy who really doesn't turn the ball over that much. Devontae Adams is Devontae Adams. You're not going to stop him. Josh Jacobs is Josh Jacobs. Like, you're not going to stop him. So I'm going to take them on week 7. Week 8, the Chargers.
Week 8, we already got it picked. We did the Chargers schedule. The Chargers are rolling them. The Chargers are going to absolutely smoke them. So we don't need to touch on it. Week 9. This I would be okay. I think this is more of a toss up for me. I could see them.
I was thinking about going with the Bears.
I was thinking about it.
So why not give it to the Bears here?
We'll give it to the Bears week 9. Sorry, Conrad.
So I mean, who knows what's going to happen? So now I'm definitely going to the Bears. Now that you said Conrad. Week 10, I think the Panthers take it though.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
I think Bryce Young's going to be well into his stride. 10, yeah.
The Panthers don't have as bad of a roster as you'd think they have, you know, just based. People are like, oh, the Panthers had the number 1 overall pick. Well, they did trade up, so they didn't technically have the worst record. Right. They had the 9th worst record, and they got increasingly better with Miles Sanders. Yes, you lost DJ Moore, but you add Adam Thielen, and you add guys like that, and you add a franchise quarterback in Bryce Young. So, obviously there.
Yeah, I mean, they can't be too shitty of a team because they beat us last year. Seahawks. So fuck.
Another 2 weeks that I'm just gonna let you handle here.
Yeah, I'm kind of debating. I think I'm gonna have them go ahead and split with the Vikings week 12. I'm gonna give a win to the Bears over the Vikings. So week 12 we'll give it to the Bears, But I just think, tell me if you agree. I think the Lions are going to, personally, I'll leave your Packers outside of this equation, but out of the Bears, Lions, and Vikings, I think the Lions are a clear front runner.
I don't think it's clear. I think that definitely they are the front runner, but I think the Vikings still have a decent and solid roster, and the Lions really didn't improve much. You switch Swift and Jahmyr Gibbs, so that's not really a crazy improvement.
Yeah,
but they definitely are the front runner.
Okay, all right. So I mean, my thought process here was, I'll let Chicago split with the Vikings. Let them, maybe they get lucky. The Vikings are home here, so maybe we'll flip flop that. Maybe we'll give the Vikings the home win and Chicago the home win. But I'm gonna go ahead. I guess I'm doing Week 14 too. I'm gonna say that the Lions are sweeping them.
Yeah.
I think Lions sweep, and then both the home teams win in the Bears versus Vikings matchup. That's where I'm
Week
going.
15 though. I'm gonna have to go the Cleveland Browns. I mean, I feel like
yes,
the Cleveland Browns are a solid team and the Bears are not. So you don't really need to touch on that. Here though, I'm going to go the Bears versus the Cardinals. The Cardinals could be really bad this year. They definitely got worse, and they had the third worst record last year.
Mm-hmm.
Kyler Murray was dealing with some injuries though. But I'm going to go the Bears here. I think that the Bears, just versus the Arizona's defense, I think Justin Fields can run and score a little bit more points than you'd think they would.
Yeah, I agree. I don't disagree at all there. I think that's going to be a battle of two of the shittier teams there in Week 16. So, I mean, it's pick your poison in my eyes. I think that's more a little bit of a coin toss.
A coin toss. And I think Week 17 is also a coin toss. But we already determined that it is tails, which means the Falcons are going to win.
I think that the Dirty Birds might be a little bit better. Not great by any means of a football team, but I think they'll be a little bit better than people expect them.
It's going to be on the back of Bijan Robinson because Desmond Ridder, I can guarantee you, is not going to be that guy. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, and then Week 18.
I'm going to go Green Bay at home, especially Week 18. Probably, I think it's the first week of January in Lambeau, snowy Lambeau, Justin Fields. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Jordan Love is going to be in his stride. I do think Green Bay sweeps Chicago. I think that's the only team that we really sweep in this division. So.
Yeah, I think that I'm more than okay giving the win here to the Packers because I think there's two ways I see this playing out. Either A, you're gonna have a wild card locked up, card position locked up,
or fighting for one.
And I think it doesn't really matter. It's the Bears. You guys want to whoop the Bears' asses every time you play them.
100%.
Or you're like you said, you're going to be fighting for a wild card spot, and obviously you're going to want to win that game and get into the playoffs.
Want to win. And honestly, I get that it was a big thing for Aaron, but just like for Favre and with Aaron, the ownership of the Chicago Bears is just passed down from generation to generation. It's not like one person takes it and when they leave. So Favre had it, passed it down to Aaron when Favre left, and Aaron is gladly passing the ownership down to Love. So he has to renew his ownership twice a year against the Bears. So that's just what Green Bay does, But that puts them at 4-13, which is one win better than they were last year. Which, hey, they got DJ Moore. Boom, there's your one win extra. So
yeah, but this is by far the lowest record team that we have done.
Not really by far. So far. We've had a 5-win team. Houston was 5 and Atlanta was 5.
I take that back, minus the by far. But this is our bottom team.
This is the bottom team so far as Chicago.
But without further ado, let's go back to Siri. Let's see what team we're going to be doing next.
Team number 2, baby.
Pick a number 1 through 32.
The answer is 4.
4. I don't think we've done 4 yet.
Awesome.
Or maybe we have. Fuck. No, we have not.
Who is it?
I like this one. The Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo Bills, baby.
So let's go back over here and let's see. This could be interesting between us.
Week 1 at New York. Aaron Rodgers' debut in a new uniform.
Unfortunately, it's a loss for Aaron Rodgers, though.
Fortunately, it is. We know as well as I do, as a big Packer fan, Week 1, Aaron Rodgers, not great. Second off, Aaron Rodgers does not attend OTAs. He does not attend preseason games.
Yeah.
So, rocky start for the Jets. Although I do think they'll be good, rocky start for the Jets.
I agree. I think they're definitely going to need a couple weeks to get into the swing of things. So, totally good going Bills there.
Week 2, another new quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, coming into town.
Give it to the Bills. They're not
I'm
beating
giving
the
it to
fucking
the
Raiders.
Bills again.
I mean, sorry, the Raiders are not beating the Bills. Excuse me.
No, I think it will be close. I do think, both defenses kind of lack. I don't trust the Raiders defense. I obviously trust the Bills more than I trust the Raiders defense, but both have a stud receiver. The Raiders beat them at running back by a long shot, but obviously Josh Allen is kind of that X factor there.
Yeah, I agree. And then I think they continue the little winning streak that they got on there in week 3.
Uh-huh.
But it comes to an end in week 4. I hope you're on the same wavelength as me when they play the Dolphins.
I
Really?
disagree. I think they split, but I think Buffalo takes their home game.
Okay. I'll give that to you.
So.
That's fine. So we'll give it to the Buffalo Bills there.
Week 5.
Where we have them at 5-0.
We have them at 5-0, and trust me, it ain't gonna stay that way. It is not gonna stay that way because in week 6 I have an upset.
Really?
I do. I think Daniel Jones doesn't turn the ball over. They're not very good against the run.
Yeah.
You got Saquon Barkley in that defense that Josh Allen likes to, run around and do his thing and hurdle players against Kayvon Thibodeau. As we know, that ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work.
Nah, that ain't gonna work. You see what we got up here.
Come on now. So I'm giving it to the Giants.
I'm fine with that. I like it. Just, you know what? You sold me on the KT comment there.
Oh,
I won't
yeah.
lie. You did.
Oh yeah.
I'll give it to the Giants.
Week 7, I think they sweep the Patriots in this.
Yeah, I think so
one.
too.
I was thinking about it, but I just don't think the Patriots got it. But this is before they signed D-Hop. So who knows? If they sign D-Hop, maybe they split.
Different story.
As of right now, I do think that they win that game.
Yeah. I do think, though, in week 8, they smoke the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just like everyone else will be in the league.
Yep.
I feel like I'm beating a drum here. I feel like I'm beating a dead
Yeah,
drum because
they, I think, might be the worst team in the league.
Yeah,
they do have a lot of veteran players like Levante David and Devin White on the defensive side of the ball, Charlton Davis, but I just don't think that it's enough.
Yeah, they have a very interesting roster because they have one of the best receiver rooms in the league, but they got no one to get the ball to those receivers.
I think that they're going to be right around what we had the Bears at earlier, a little 4 wins or something like that.
I'm right there with you.
Week 9.
You know who I'm going.
I'm going the Bengals. This is
Give me
where I
shiesty.
feel like they're going to lose a lot of games in the next coming games. So just stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I got them losing week 10.
I also agree.
The Denver Broncos
coming off a bye.
Coming off a bye with Sean Payton. He's going to want to come out swinging his first bye in his first season. I think that they take it.
I agree. I think that week 11, I think that they bested Aaron Rodgers and the Jets week 1.
Their revenge game.
But Aaron Rodgers is now into a little bit of a groove.
Yep.
He's liking this new team over there in New York.
Yep.
He's still in the color green and he's still doing his thing. Give me the Jets week 11.
Boom, same. And week 12, I am taking the Philadelphia Eagles against the Buffalo Bills. I honestly do not think that the Buffalo Bills are that great of a football team. We had them at 8-1, but here they're on a 4-game losing streak, and I don't think that it's going to stop because they play the Chiefs coming up next week as well. So they're going to lose to the Eagles, who were the runner-up champions, and then they're going to lose to the reigning champions in the Chiefs.
I agree. Couldn't have said it any differently there. I agree. And then the next 2 weeks, we have already predetermined because of the other teams that we've done. We have them beating the Dallas Cowboys week 15. And we also have them beating the Los Angeles Chargers in week 16. And week 17. Oh, yeah, I'll let you take this guy.
Well, we already said it. We already
did.
said it.
Yeah.
So we said that it was going to be sweep versus the New England Patriots.
Yep.
I really just don't know what Bill Belichick's doing over there. I really don't. Is he trying to go in with all in with Mac Jones? I know they had a visit with DeAndre Hopkins, but
I don't know.
I just don't think their roster's as good as it was.
No. And then week 18, we did say that we would have them split with the Dolphins, which I also agree with. If we have them sitting here, let me double check.
We have here at 10-7, which is exactly where I had to think that they would be.
Yeah, no, I agree.
down
And I
to
think
the game.
Yeah.
If you told me, where do you think the Bills' record would be? I'd be like 10-7. 10-7. It's the Madden curse too. Watch out, Josh Allen. It's coming for you. Don't think that you're immune. It got AB and it hit AB hard, so it had to take a year off, and now it's right back on that train. You better watch out, Josh Allen. He's coming for you. The Madden curse is coming for you.
Yeah, I just
They
think
might go 4 wins, honestly.
I just think it's interesting. This AFC East team, or sorry, the AFC East division is going to be very interesting. I really have no idea what's outside of the Patriots, because the Patriots are going to finish dead last. But those other 3 teams, I have no idea what's going to be going on with them.
I think they're all, if I had to pick every single one of them, I think is going to be at that 10-7 mark.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll do the games. I mean, we can see, we go game by game, so we can physically pick and see who's going to win. Maybe the Jets have a little bit of an easier record because they finished 3rd in the division last year. But, I don't know. I think they're all going to be around 10-7, and it's going to come down to those last few weeks, especially week 18, where you play your divisional opponents. The Jets will play the Patriots. The Bills will play the Dolphins. And whoever wins those games, especially Bills-Dolphins, you're going to be fighting 10 wins apiece. So we'll see what happens there. But that division really can go one of 3 ways.
No, I agree. To me, it's very reminiscent of the AFC West division last year, where everyone thought, oh my gosh, the Chargers are going to be insane. The Chiefs are obviously always really good. And then, of course, you got the Broncos getting Russell Wilson and the Raiders. Like, everyone was in contention. The Raiders obtained your boy last year. They obtained Devontae. So I think that there was a lot of movement in that AFC East division this past year, and it's gonna be interesting. I'm very curious to see. All eyes are gonna be on that division, to say the least.
Just like that division, the AFC West, like you were saying, is you're going to have some disappointing teams. So I think one of those is going to be the Bills, who finished with 13 wins last year. I think they're definitely going to drop a couple of wins, whether they're at 10, 11. But you're going to have some unexpected things happen. And again, like, they're just going to beat up on each other. They're all good football teams. Even the Patriots, I can see them sneaking a win against Miami or even Buffalo or even the Jets. Like, the Patriots, like, yes, they're definitely on the bottom tier of those 3 teams, but that doesn't mean that they can't go and steal and win a football game. So I think definitely that it's going to be between the 3 teams we said, but they're all going to beat up on each other. They're all probably going to split. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, I'm very curious. I think this season I've never been this excited for an NFL season to start in a while. So.
I've never been this nervous for an NFL season to start.
Yeah, you've been smooth sailing.
I've been smooth sailing with my boy Aaron Rodgers for the last 18 years.
But really quick, I skipped over it. That's on me. But I wanted to touch on one more NFL topic. There's been some allegations surrounding Tyreek Hill as well that have just come out.
Talking about the Dolphins too.
Yeah. He allegedly, this is a quote from Google, Hill allegedly threw his pregnant girlfriend around like a rag doll, punched her in the face, sat on her, punched her in the stomach, and choked her, according to a police report obtained by the Tulsa World in Oklahoma. Hill pled guilty to domestic assault and battery by strangulation.
What an idiot.
I don't know what the hell he's doing. And
what an idiot.
And he's already, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Tyreek Hill has already had allegations against him prior to his draft.
He was supposed to be a 1st or 2nd round pick, slipped into the 3rd round because of allegations. And these guys just it's like, as sad as it is, it's really rare to find like an athlete, like a guy like LeBron or Steph Curry, who are just like, they do their thing, they have their family, they raise their kids, and they're like, a lot of these guys, they're just, the money gets to their head. Like, I love Tyreek Hill. I've watched his podcast. I've watched him on Destroying's YouTube channel. Like, he seems like a good guy, but he just makes dumb mistakes.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, and truly, I don't think we'll ever really understand until we were in that situation, until we had money and fame. Who really knows what that does to your head?
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully everything's okay with Tyreek Hill's pregnant girlfriend, and that whole situation gets resolved peacefully. And, whatever has to happen to Tyreek Hill, I guess, has to happen. But it would be, it'd be sad not to see him on the football field
Yeah.
this year.
But if those allegations are true, a suspension is definitely warranted.
Oh, I agree.
So-
I agree. You can't be doing that.
Can't be doing that. Can't be doing that. There's a lot of like John Morant, Joe Mixon, now Tyreek Hill. There's a lot of suspensions, it seems
Alvin
like, from
Kamara?
all these leagues coming around. So, well, I don't want to end the pod on a suspension and a note that's kind of sad.
Sad note, yeah.
So I say we say one good thing about the Green Bay Packers. Lighten up the podcast a little bit. You got one good thing for me?
I can give you one good thing.
Okay.
I would say that Jair Alexander is a top 10 corner in the league.
That's disrespectful. It's
No,
not
that
even
was a
nice.
positive thing. He's a top 10 corner.
And he ain't 9, and he ain't 10, and he ain't 8, and he ain't 7, and he ain't 6, and he ain't 5, and he ain't 4.
I actually
I'll leave it between 1, 2, and 3.
I'm pretty sure I saw a list the other day about PPF coming out with their. Actually, no, maybe it wasn't PPF because I think PPF has him 1. But I saw there were some rankings that had him lower in the top 10, and I was like, damn, that's the Jair disrespect is crazy.
Green Bay's disrespect is crazy.
But
I was going to say one good thing about your team, and now I'm not. You just
no.
disrespected me.
That was a joke. Good thing.
I was going to say Pete Carroll's actually kind of good looking for his age. He's like 75 years old, and he's still fucking. He pulls 100%. He pulls.
Oh, 100.
He's a good looking 70-year-old dude.
Is he married? I should know that about my head coach, but I don't. Is he married?
A guy like that can't be married.
Yeah, no, he's got some broads in some different countries.
He's a
that's
bachelor.
For sure.
When he retires, he's going to be on The Bachelor. He's going to have rose in his mouth.
I would watch
come
that.
date Pete.
I would watch that, honestly.
So,
but you know what? I'll give you one last thing. I'll give you one nice thing, an actual nice thing. I think that maybe this isn't a nice thing, but I think that a very positive thing about the Packers. I've been seeing a lot of content media coming out from the Packers organization, and it seems like there's been a lot of positive support of Jordan Love's teammates. I saw an interview where where Jordan was getting interviewed and Jair came behind him and he's like, "That's my QB1, baby, best QB in the league." So I don't know. It just seems like there's a much more positive atmosphere and culture brewing in Green Bay since the departing of Aaron Rodgers.
I feel like it's not hard to look at Aaron Rodgers as the most arrogant quarterback to probably ever face the league or be a starter in the league for an extended period of time. He's an arrogant guy. Early in his career, he was cocky. In about 2018, he moved to arrogant. There's levels. Confident, cocky, arrogant. So he definitely jumped up to arrogant. And
you know what it is? It's the ashwagandha getting to his head, man.
The what?
The ashwagandha.
You don't even say it right.
I don't know I don't know how the fuck to pronounce it, but you know what I was trying to say.
It's ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca. Yeah, that shit. Whatever drugs you're taking, Aaron, maybe stop. Maybe lay off. You're getting a little old, man.
Hey, don't talk shit or he's going to have to go on his darkness retreat again. Yeah. He literally went into his darkness retreat, and that's when Green Bay's like, all right, we need to get rid of this guy. We have 4 days where he has no clue what the hell we're doing. We need to shop his ass. But that's unfortunate.
Yeah. We're going on a bit of a tangent here.
I just didn't want to end the pod on a little sad note.
No, I agree.
So let's end the pod right now. Cue that outro, baby. Boop.
But wait, no, hold on, redo it. No. Hold on, redo it. We need to say thank you we need to tell them to like, comment, subscribe, and thank you for watching.
Well, then like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Cue the outro. Peace.